So I'm doing my friend's hair, and she's normally a blonde, but we've colored her hair dark. Well, she was blonde, and then we did purple, and then a color remover, and then colored her hair dark. And it's been like probably 2 years since she's been blonde, but now she wants to go blonde again. So I'm going to head to her house and do a strand test. I know this is totally gross, but I was dumb and I forgot baggies or foil to put her hair in. So now I'm like carrying her hair in a little baggie to do her strand test. So I have another client that's coming in later on, and I don't want to like waste time on a strand test when I could do it before she gets there. So that's why we're doing this. I'm doing her strand test exactly as I would, so I'm using 20 volume with Olaplex and Schwarzkopf Blonde Me. Okay, so the way that I do my test strands is I like to just slide cut a teeny little piece of hair off of my client's head underneath, not right up top, just somewhere where they won't even notice that I took a little snip. I've had a few people ask me why I do it that way, and I like to put it in the foil and just see how it's gonna process. And I prefer to do it that way versus just doing a little section on the head, because then they're gonna have like this blonde piece or orange strand in their hair. So I'd rather not do that. So that's why I have like my 3 test strands right now. And normally I'll mark it like, you know, front area, back, underneath, or the top or whatever. That way I know like if one of them does tend to be a little bit more weak than the other hair, then I'll know where it comes from. But yeah, so I'll mix it exactly how I would mix the hair. So I did just a teeny little drop of Olaplex with my 20 volume. Sometimes I'll put it in the heater just to push it a little bit further to see if it's gonna melt or not. And so right now it's gonna sit for about 15 minutes, and then I'll check it and know how blonde we can go in our service today.
Here's her strand test. You can see that it got pretty bright. However, it does have a lot of warmth and brassiness to it. And I did tell her that I don't really know how blonde we'll be able to get her today. It really just depends on how light her hair is gonna allow us to go. Here's her before, quite a bit of dark, and that's color that's on there. So we definitely will have a lot of brassiness that we're gonna have to work with. For this service, we're basically going to be doing a bleaching tone, and we did already do a pretty good chop at this point. And let's be honest, with how long her hair was, it probably wouldn't have held up in the best condition for having to go so light and go through all of this bleaching. So just to be on the safe side, we did a good cut. And she did want to chop it pretty short anyways, and it looks really cute on her, and it's summertime, so it all just worked out. And we're leaving the little bit underneath a little bit darker just for a little bit of dimension in the haircut and add some contrast. And for her blonde, we're basically going to be going through with a very heavy foil. I'm not going to be doing any subsections in between, just because our goal is to be very blonde and more, we don't want to have it like a highlighted effect where you can see a lot of dark throughout the blonde. We really want to try and go super light today as much as we can. So that's why I'm going to be insulating the sections and not having any subsections in between. So I'm basically going to go through and just slice everywhere. And I'm gonna be honest with you, like, this is probably the first time where I was like, just get it in there, just slap it on. I don't need to worry about being precise about, you know, making sure that it's super tight up against the scalp or whatever, how I normally am, because I mean, I didn't want to take all day on the service because I do have a limited time for what we're going to be doing. And I know that we're going to be going through and doing like a shadow route to blend her color. So trying to get a perfect like highlighted look or perfect platinum card foil or whatever, just it isn't really necessary. So I'm trying to just go through, slap the bleach on pretty thick and heavy, and just get her processing, because we have a lot of lifting that we have to do and a lot of toning to make sure that by the time she's done with the service, she ends up with a really nice, pretty blonde. A few people have asked me to give more information about my clients as far as their hair goes. So her natural roots are probably like a level 6, and we probably have about 2 inches of grow out from her natural hair. And then the rest of her hair is probably like a level 5 with a warm tone to it. So that's what we're going to be lifting through today. And we've colored the dark part, I think 2 times. So she does have a little bit of color buildup on there, but beneath the color, she was blonde previously. So I'm hoping that the fact that she's already been blonde and that her hair is kind of porous, I'm hoping that that will work in our favor, and that maybe she'll lift decently and that the color will just kind of like pull out nicely. Even though we know it's going to be a little bit warm, I'm just really hoping that her hair doesn't end up too brassy and orange, just because she already does have a warm base on it. So I have already explained this to her. The pictures that she was showing me was like a very icy white blonde, and I just told her that I don't know for this service today how realistic that is. However, knowing what the goal is, we do have intentions on trying to get there as realistic as possible. However, that doesn't always happen, but sometimes we're pleasantly surprised. So she knows that going in, that we don't really have an end result specifically that we can guarantee, but we know what we're working towards. I want to apologize ahead of time if I don't do a lot of voiceover on this specific video. Last night, I worked until 11 o'clock at night. The night before that, I worked until 10 o'clock. And then I had to work the weekend because last week my son was sick for 2 days. So I had to reschedule clients. And I've just been like working 12 plus hours a day and getting off super late. And last night when I was sleeping, I woke up and my right arm was completely numb, and I almost started panicking because, you know, when you wake up and then you like straighten your leg or your arm out, whatever, the feeling comes back, and the feeling wasn't coming back in my arm. And it honestly like really freaked me out. And I was like massaging my arm, and I was like praying for like my feeling to come back or whatever. It was like almost one of the most uncomfortable, one of the worst like moments of panic that I've had when it comes to myself, just because like it's just a scary thought, like what's going on. And when I do my voiceovers, it's usually like midnight or 1 a.m. I know I kind of explained this before, but the way that I like lean over in my bed, like it kind of makes my arms go numb anyways. And so with my experience last night, like I've really been favoring my arm today. I've been laying on the couch all day, literally like with a pillow supporting my arm. And then I know this is kind of weird, but like my shoulders are double jointed. So then my shoulders tend to like drop out of the socket like when I'm sleeping, so I kind of have to have pillows underneath my shoulder, like my arms and my shoulders, to like support my arms when I'm sleeping so that they don't go numb through the night, which they normally do every night. So if I'm not doing very much of a voiceover just for this video, I apologize ahead of time. I'm taking Monday off of work, so I need to do better self-care. It's just I've got so many clients with quarantine that need to come in. So like I have just a backup of clientele that I'm trying to fit and take care of. So that's why I'm not able to like take much time off. But anyways, I feel bad for bringing that into this video, but it's not like I ever do any like sit down videos and like talk to you guys with just myself, and I don't know if that's even anything you guys would be interested in or would care about or whatever. I totally would like make a playlist of like just me stuff, or just like talking to you guys, or if you guys have any questions that I can explain like with myself and not necessarily doing a hair video, I'd be totally willing to do that if any of you guys are interested in it. Which I guess kind of brings me to another point, is I hit 1,000 subscribers, which I am so grateful for all of you guys, and that unlocks the community tab in YouTube. So I don't know if you ever go to my actual like YouTube page, if you like scroll where it says like videos, playlist, I think it says like about, and then there's community, and I think you are allowed to like communicate with people a little bit easier that way. So I have just like one post that I put on there, and I think people can like comment on there and I can respond that way. And I just wanted to bring that to your guys' attention, because if you guys have any input for videos that you would like me to do, or I mean anything, you guys can always hit me up there if you would like, and I can get back to you that way. But anyways, long story short, as always, if I'm like not super talkative in this video, it's because I'm trying to like make sure my arm doesn't go numb for like the whole night. So anyways, thank you for watching regardless, and on with the video. I did want to point out here that normally when I do my clients foiling around their face, I do a lot of detail work with doing right around their hairline, and I'm not taking the time to do that in this service because we're going for more of a solid blonde. So she's going to be really bright there anyways, so it's not like I need to take that 30 or however long it takes, 30 minutes or however long it takes me to go around the hairline and make sure that we have really nice fine detailed work in there. So we're just going to keep slicing right up the side of the head, and then it's going to blend in the front anyways, because eventually we will be going through and doing a shadow root. So she'll still have like that nice bright pop of a money piece around her face. Now that we're to the top of her head on this section, we're just going to keep going through like foiling back her mohawk section. And actually this bleach that I'm using is pretty weak. Of course, the area right in the front is normally a little bit more fine and potentially could be damaged a lot easier. So right now we're using some older bleach that has been sitting for a while, because if her hair processes for a while, I don't have to worry about it because the bleach isn't as strong. So in this section, we're just going to keep foiling straight back through her mohawk area. And here she is. You can see that we did a full foil with 0 subsections, so hopefully we get her nice and bright.
Okay, so my client is sitting at the shampoo bowl right now with the Fanola No Yellow shampoo on her hair. She's gonna sit for probably like 5 minutes or so. We actually lightened up quite a bit more than I thought we were going to. However, she still does have a lot of orange in her hair. So right now we're gonna pre-tone her hair and, ugh, gross. So right now we're gonna pre-tone her hair and see where her brightest blonde is at and how much of that warmth we can kick out.
So I'm going to do all equal parts here for her pre-tone.
Okay, I just got done pre-toning my client and she still has a lot of really dark, like orange level 8 areas, but she does have some brighter pieces. So we're gonna go through and do her root shadow. She's like naturally a level 5, 7 range, probably like a 6, 7. But because she has so much dark orangey tones in her hair, I told her that I'm probably gonna have to tone her blonde down quite a bit. So in order for her blonde to stand out more, she's okay with doing her root a little bit darker, which she actually, that was some of the pictures where they're like level 4. I don't know that I really wanna go that dark, but I feel like I'm gonna have to because her blonde is so orange still. So we're gonna mix for her root shade right now. And currently she's sitting with olaplex on her hair through her ends. And somebody asked me before when I used a really large application brush. I thought it was from Framar. It's not. It says Product Club on it. And I'm not really sure where you get it from, if it's from Cosmoprof or where. But that's generally where we get all of our stuff because that's the local beauty supply. So this is Product Club application brush.
This is what I'm mixing for her root shadow. That 612 does a really good job of knocking out the brass. And I'm doing just a little bit of the 5 to balance it so it doesn't go too ashy. And I'm using Schwarzkopf 6 volume to mix with the processing solution. Okay, so going through and doing her root shadow to blend her hair, I'm basically just going through and really tapping it at the roots and then combing it through the ends just to make sure that it blends down really nicely. And one thing that I will say is I always think it's a really smart idea to start at the bottom. There's nothing worse than starting at the top and then having to like flip the hair back and forth. I feel like it gets really messy. You can get the color where you're not wanting it to be, and then it ends up getting splotchy or looking messy and having an uneven color. So I think it's a best idea to just start down at the bottom and then work your way up. And another thing too is that, you know how you can see, because of my application, I was really just trying to get it on there and not really worry about the roots, because when we were bleaching and foiling, I knew that we were going to be eventually coming back through and doing the root shadow. One thing I will really say is that I'm not too concerned about the foil lines, because I am going through with Schwarzkopf Agora Vibrance, and I feel like this does a really, really good job at concealing. Where if I've gone through with the Paul Mitchell before, I feel like it's so translucent that I don't feel like it would be the best thing for this job. Now, if I did a really meticulous foil and somebody just really wanted a very, very faint root shadow just to like soften the blonde up just a little bit, that would be really good for that. But I feel like because we do have the foil lines and we really want to blend the roots with where the blonde is and blend it through the ends, I feel like the Schwarzkopf is really nice because it really covers really good versus the Paul Mitchell just being a little bit too translucent for what we're wanting right now. Up in the front area, I am being a little bit more cautious because I don't want to make it too dark in this area. So I did section the front area away from the rest of the hair, and then I'm going to apply this first. And then once I let this sit for a few minutes on both sides, then I'm going to go through towards the end and apply around her hairline and her money piece area. That way that stays nice and bright, but it tones it down just a little bit from the few minutes that it sits and processes. So it'll blend nicely from having a darker shadow root to being a little bit softer just around the face. You can see here that I'm really just tapping just slightly, just right at the root where the grow out is. So probably just like a 1/4 inch, and that's all. And I'm not trying to drag it at all through the rest of her money piece.
Okay, my client is sitting with the aesthetic milk rinse on her hair right now. We just got done with her root shadow, and now we're going to tone for her all over lighter blonde pieces. And I think I'm gonna go with like a level 8 ash.
This is what I toned her with. I did about half and half. Here's her before, super dark, super long and brassy, lots of warmth in her hair. And here's her after. Her root shadow just blends really nicely. It kind of helps minimize that brassiness and any warmth that there was. And we were definitely very happy with how blonde we were able to get her. Thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate all of you. And don't forget to like and subscribe.